some people deserve punishment, some people deserve rehabilitation.
Everyone deserves rehabilitation.
Some people deserve punishment.
Yeah, but after punishment, you need rehabilitation.
But some people that are doing some nasty crimes, that's my opinion. They deserve punishment.
They deserve
go locked away. Exactly. That's what I mean. And then there's some people that they deserve rehabilitation. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like you just said about being hurt. They've gone through trauma when they're young. They expressing themselves through violence and stuff. To me, that needs rehabilitation. You need to sit down and, go through stuff. Why are you so hurt? Why are you doing that? You need to realise that, you're affecting other people. Like when they do that, what's it called? What's it called? Who do we have on here? Was it Stanner? And then he said when the victim
restorative justice.
Yeah, when they read him back the victim impact statement, like it made him feel, some type of way, and you start looking at things in a different way and whatever. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
They didn't let you read your victim impact, did you? I saw that on that internet.
Really difficult because, and I think only now am I seeing why they didn't let me read it out. So when it came to the trial, normally in a trial they let the mum sit in the courtroom, but when the young man that was convicted of Joshua's murder was speaking in the courtroom, they banned me from being in the court because they were worried that if I got angry, upset, that it would trigger a lot of retaliation.
How do you feel about him?
How do I feel about him?
Yeah.
I've never ever had a moment of anger and a moment of, retaliation or anything in that my head. But I only think that is because how much I processed through Josh's dad's situation, and I think I learnt. It took me about 3 years to process it, that people who aren't evil can do some very evil things. And I think that gave me the skill to just very matter of fact go, this person, a young man, only 18, with no convictions, who isn't evil, has done something evil. And even though, it's my only son that he's done this to, I think that's helped me to see it that way, because I think I'd just be totally consumed by anger and,
Do you know what it is, Alison? I watched it, we got Festify because it's mad timing. They put out a documentary about Josh just the other day, like less than a week ago. So I watched it and all that. First of all, how do you even feel about all of that? Like people putting out documentaries.
It's difficult because
I actually thought, wow, like, do you know what I'm saying? Did you do that knowing that you're coming on here?
No one ever asks me if they can do these things. I think because, and I've always said this, Josh is mine. Depzman is quite a public person. Yeah. So people don't always think, I need to speak to her if we're talking about Depzman. But it always fills me with anxiety. I think, what's going to be said? Because as soon as anything around Josh is mentioned, you get all the kind of emotional,
I can imagine.
Things that come with that. It's difficult because on one hand, I'm really grateful that people still remember him. I'm really grateful that his name lives on. I also find it difficult that people don't, think, well, I'm just going to be there having a cup of tea in my front room, probably just crying because Josh isn't here, or sitting with my son's ashes, and then all of a sudden his face pops on YouTube. It's like someone punched you in the stomach. You go,
how do you find out about it? People send it to you and
people
all that?
Just say, have you seen this? Or you literally, I found out this one because it came up on my YouTube feed.
Okay. Really?
And you just, you stopped in your tracks. And I think,
and they even had you in it?
And they even had me in it.
It?
Yeah, I watched it.
Okay.
I'm glad my victim impact statement came out, because that was another thing with the trial. You're allowed to read it out in court. You're allowed. They didn't let me. It wasn't even allowed to be read out with the jury. They just did not want that read out in case it triggered retaliation and more.
Because it's mad still.
Violence.
Like, why I asked you how you feel about the guy here, because I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit torn, innit? I was a bit torn, so I praise you for how you look at it still. Because you could have anger and, be bitter and all that. But I was a bit torn because I thought it was a bit of a passionate crime as well, innit? I think, like, the girl, like, not like that. I think that girl, I think that girl's evil as well. Not even evil, I shouldn't say that, but
I don't.
See, baby mothers and all that.
Yeah, I don't have blame for her in the beginning. Because, when you go through something like this, you don't know what it's like to go to a trial in that sense as the mum. And you had all the rumours, all the different versions, and 99% of it was not true. So a lot of the stuff that's said isn't accurate. And it was only when I actually saw the footage and all the statements that she didn't actually do anything.
Okay.
But she's portrayed as like hyping up a situation and people were very reactive. She didn't do hardly anything, and a lot of people desperately wanted to blame someone in that moment.
Do you know what it is? Because me, I'm just looking at it. I'm looking at it from my angle, yeah, and it's like, raw. If I was to just go to a rave tomorrow and then see my baby mother trying to walk around with someone, do you get what I'm trying to? I'm just feeling that. Look, you said he had no previous conviction, and that's kind of what happened, innit? Like. Do you know what I mean? He probably did it even, I don't know. Do you get what I'm saying? He's just thinking, do you get what I'm saying?
I think for me, I have...
But, and remember, Josh is someone, innit?
Yeah.
So it's easy to hate on that as well. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I think that's a big part of it.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's like,
and you've got the friends hyping it up.
Gassing him up. Look, he's with your baby mother. Da, 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 da. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
You know, but I think for him, you know, he had many opportunities to walk away and he still chose to walk away and come back armed against somebody that wasn't armed. I also half expected to see a huge punch up, at which point Josh had been stabbed, but the point Joshua had been stabbed, he was walking home, he was coming home to me, you know, and I think I find that really hard to process, that you came back over something so trivial.
I think that was for a baby mother.
Yeah.
Personally, I just think he done that for a baby mother, like, hold that. Do you get what I'm saying? But it's mad. You know what I'm trying to say?
I won't know what was going through his mind until I am face to face and ask him that question, because if I base my opinion on him based on what everyone else has said, I think that will be quite muddied. So until I hear it from his own mouth, then if he says, well, yeah, that's because of her, then we'll have a different conversation.
Was she in a relationship with your son?
No. I think she was somebody that just dealt with a few people, if you know what I mean. And I think she had a baby off...
Promiscuous.
She had a baby off the young man, and he didn't like her talking to Josh. Josh was obviously, in his eyes, Depzman, and everyone liked Josh, and you know, the girls liked Josh. And
you think he's trying to style me with my man? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm with Deps.
And Josh was arrogant. Josh was confident, and Josh was pure-hearted in thinking, I know what I am, and I know that I am, you know, within what I do for my age, I am going to be something. And people don't like that in any form of life, whether it's you work in an office or whether you're a footballer or a music artist. People are going to hate on you, and I think Josh wasn't bothered by other people's opinions at that point. So, you know, young men in a group,
He was JK's brethren as well. I see that.
Yeah.
JK's doing good now. So that shows where he would have been as well, innit, really?
Yeah, I think Josh would have been...
At the time, I knew about Depzman more than I knew about JK at that time.
Yeah, I think Josh would have been way ahead of most people now. Well, that's what I'd hope anyway. We don't know.
I was listening to that tune he done as well on that festival. I think he said that he fell out with you, but it's still love.
Yeah, that's the first I heard of that.
That's what I was thinking. What's that about?
I don't know.
Where's the fallout?
No, my opinion is we haven't had a fallout. It's such an emotional subject.
So
when
it's
you've got
just a track.
Yeah.
He just wanted to make it rhyme and feel he's a man.
No, I don't even think it's like that. I just think because there's so much emotion around Josh and Depzman, you've got two different angles. Josh is mine, and I am protective like a lioness, and I'm like, whereas Depzman, it's like music, but what's the problem? So when people are doing certain things,
good tune, no?
With his music,
good tune. You have to admit, it's a good tune.
I haven't listened to it. I just people just said that.
Okay, it's a good tune.
But you know, it's like all this kind of stuff is thrown at you from all directions, and sometimes you just don't know what to do with it. You know, and all these different comments and social media and people messaging all the time. You know, and Josh's music, he's got unreleased music, and there was frustration around that because people were clinging onto it in studios, not giving it. And then, you know, JK was, you know, frustrated by that. I was frustrated about that, but as in me and JK, we've never had a kind of disagreement. We've just been very like around things around Josh, and you know, that's all it is. But when somebody dies and they're not here anymore to have their own voice, you're constantly, you know, for me as his mum, I'm constantly battling for his voice to be heard.
It sounds like JK got love for him still.
Yeah, definitely. And people knew Depzman, however long that was for, whether it be 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. You know, I knew the little boy. I had the little boy. He was mine. You know, so no matter what, I'm always very, very protective over, you know, his legacy and what he would want and his voice.
Have you spoke to his dad since?
The last time I spoke to his dad was around 4 years ago.
Free the big man, though. I'm gonna give him a freedom. I'm gonna send him a free the big man still. You get me?
4 years ago.
No, I'm here for the prisoners. But have you? Did he get to go to the funeral?
No.
Really?
Of course yours, you know.
No. Do you know what really hurt me?
Of course yours.
It was what really hurt me. And if I get upset, just ignore me. But
Of course yours. I don't like them thing there.
it's that he wasn't allowed to say goodbye to him.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Because I desperately wanted his dad to be able to. Sorry, it really hurts me that they did that.
Yeah.
He wasn't allowed to say goodbye to him, and I even tried to arrange for Joshua's dead body to be driven.
Why are they even like that, man?
And that hurt me because
I hate them, you know.
Because you know, I will always have respect and love for the person that gave me Josh. So for them to not allow that, they just said he was too dangerous, and I'm like, yeah, but how? No one's going to try and. It's in my head. I just don't see where that came from, you know. So
they just want to be bad, man. They're stitching him up.
You know, I just think that's from a human right. If your child's murdered and you're in prison, if you can't,
yeah, that's fucked.
You know, I was trying to arrange. Well. You know, how disturbing for me to actually try and arrange for Joshua's body to be driven from Birmingham all the way to Franklin, and that's far, isn't it? That's far.
Yeah, that's far.
And I was thinking, well, I'll pay. We'll have specialists. Whatever we need. We need nurses because of decomposition. You know, your head takes you to the craziest places. But I thought that he deserves that. And when they said no, I was devastated. And you know, and it is devastating. You know, his dad had never heard his album. Too Real.
Is it?
And I had to write to the governor and get special authorisation in the hope that he was allowed to listen to it, and they let him. There's all that kind of elements behind, you know, when someone's in prison, how hard it is for people in prison, and they make it harder in some kind, you know. And I'm not, you know,
depending on what kind of prisoner he is as well. Do you know what I mean?
You know, he has a right in some capacity to say goodbye to his son, regardless of what he's done and why he's there. That's a human right, and you know, it hurts. That hurts a lot.
No, man, sorry to bring that up.
No. It's, you can ask me anything. Me being upset is a reaction for other people's actions, not your question.
Yeah.
So.
And was they still in contact like before, up until when he passed away?
His family,
him and his dad.
Yeah,
they was.
Yeah. Josh went to see him. Josh struggled, but he loved his dad. So, you know, he was still a teenager. He wasn't. People think of Josh as being like a grown man.
And considering that they knew that he used to come and visit and stuff like that, that is so bad that they never let him go to the funeral, man.
I think the funeral thing, I do understand the funeral thing a little bit, because just the press element and the kind of, I think there was, even with the funeral, so it's like backtrack slightly, they would not let me have a funeral until I could tell them how many people were going, and I ended up getting really angry with the police, saying, how do I know? I've never organised my child's funeral before. How do I know how many people?
And plus he's famous.
Yeah, the public element of it, I don't know. It could be 100, might be 1,000. It ended up being way more than that. And they were like, well, we're not going to sign it off because we can't just have 5,000 people turn up in Birmingham city centre without, you know, undercover police. All these police elements to it, and then I just had enough of it, and I said, no, well, forget it, you don't sign it off and I'll just publicly do my own thing. And they were like, and then they signed it off. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff like that. So I think they didn't let his dad come because of the public element to it, but he should have still been allowed to have a private moment with Josh.
Definitely.
100%.
Poor screws. I hate them. But Did you know his friend that died? The one that he had.
Kyle. No, I didn't know him. I didn't know him. No.
Yeah, he seemed in bits over that, innit?
Yeah, I think, you know, Josh had a very, you know, the real Josh inside Josh was very sensitive and very, you know, very aware of other people's pain. So anything like that, he would really take it to heart, and it hurt him a lot.
I saw an appeal from his mum that she's still, you know, she's This is still unsolved.
Yeah, they haven't charged
case
anybody
is still
with
unsolved. So she's like basically. So that's a bit mad. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I was going to ask you. Do you chat to the mum?
No, I didn't know her before. I don't know her now.
Yeah. But no, it's sad, man. 2 friends, it's sad.
Because I thought the event that they was at, wasn't that for
his bridging, yeah.
Yeah, that passed away, wasn't it? Something to do with that?
Yeah, it was a memorial.
Yeah, imagine
and
that.
Josh was performing. And that was it. He did his performance, hung around for a bit, and then went to go home and got stabbed. And that was that. Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.